This is For My Sons, a space where we equip men to lead themselves, their families, and their communities with strength and wisdom. I'm your host, Papa O, a father, a husband, a son, and a student of life. Here, we dive into all the topics that shape the development of men. Lessons, stories, and principles you can use to strengthen your family and impact your community. If you're passionate about becoming a better man, building a better family, and leaving a better world, you're in the right place. Let's jump into today's conversation. Welcome back to the podcast. And today's topic is something that I'm pretty sure I discussed or said I wanted to discuss a couple of podcast episodes ago, right? It's about how to exist powerfully in a world that wants you to either disappear or self-destruct. So, this episode is titled Integrate, Don't Assimilate. Right, let's get into it. Now, according to the Oxford English Dictionary, the word integration is defined as the action or process of successfully joining or mixing with a different group of people. In a social context, it refers specifically to the process of combining or coordinating separate groups, especially people of different races, cultures, or religions, into an equal and functioning whole within a society. Integration isn't code for conform. It doesn't mean dressing like everyone else and talking like everyone else, thus erasing yourself in the process to fit in. It means being firm in who you are and wise enough to walk alongside others without needing to dominate or disappear. Like the Yoruba say, Bi omode ba mo we, ka mo so pelu ni, which translates as, if a child knows how to wash their hands, they'll eat with elders. That's mean to say, if you carry yourself well, you don't need to beg for a seat. You're invited because of your value, not because you changed who you are. Cool. Now that we've defined what integration is, let's define what assimilation is. Now, according to Oxford Dictionary, assimilation is the process by which an individual or group gradually adopts the language, culture, and behaviors of another, often at the cost of losing their own distinct identity. And that's the heart of the issue. It's not about connection, it's about conformity. Not about building bridges, but about burying your roots. Assimilation is often praised as the fastest way to get ahead, but history and real life show us it often comes at a heavy price. Now, I know you're probably thinking to yourself, Papa, what do you mean? No problem. Let me give you some examples and hopefully you can understand the point I'm trying to get to. First example, General Colin Powell, right? Colin Powell was the first black US Secretary of State, and he was a son of Jamaican immigrants and rose through the ranks as a quote-unquote model minority. He dressed the part, spoke the part, and for decades carefully avoided public commentary on race, even as others urged him to speak up. To many, he was proof that assimilation worked. He was calm, collected, successful, and accepted at the highest levels of power. But then came the Iraq War. Powell was the first one sent to the United Nations to present the case for war, using intelligence he later discovered was deeply flawed. He called it the biggest stain on his career, and many believe he was used for his credibility, only to be left holding the bag when the narrative fell apart. In the end, he found himself isolated. Black communities felt he had gone too far to gain approval. Conservatives turned on him when he criticized the very system he once stood for. He had power, but not peace. Respect, but not rootedness. Assimilation may have given him the platform, but it took away his own voice. Example number 2. Sir Ben Kingsley. You've probably seen him. He was Gandhi in 1982, which won an Academy Award. He was in Schindler's List in 1993, where he played the powerful role of Ishtak Stern. And he was in The House of Sand and Fog in 2003, where he portrayed a tragic, complex Iranian immigrant. But what you might not know is that Ben Kingsley was actually born Krishna Pandit Banji. He changed his name early in his career to sound more quote-unquote British, something he has later admitted he did to avoid being typecast or excluded altogether. That change did open doors, but it also meant the world embraced his talent and not his full identity. And years later, he expressed regret that he had to erase part of himself just to be seen. The lesson here? You may gain visibility, but lose visibility as yourself. Example number 3. Trevor Phillips. As the former head of the Commission of Racial Equality, Phillips was often praised by political elites for his critiques of multiculturalism and his moderate tone. But over time, this alignment distanced himself from many black communities, and those same institutions turned on him when he stepped outside the lines they found comfortable. Assimilation brought influence, briefly, but not legacy, not trust, not true acceptance. So what's the takeaway? You can't protect your spirit by selling your story. Acceptance gained through erasure is very fragile. If you disappear to succeed, your success won't feel like your own. If assimilation demands erasure, isolation tempts you with comfort. Just stay with your own. Don't mix too much. Build your own thing and forget the rest. Well, here's the truth. Isolation may start with dignity, but it often ends in disconnect and strife. Here are 4 examples where isolation didn't work. Number 1, the British Asian enclaves. Now, this is between 2001 and into the 2010s. Wouldn't call those the noughties, but there you go. Some South Asian communities became so internally focused that youth from those areas faced cultural and social shock when stepping into a broader society. A lack of integration bred misunderstanding and led to policies targeting self-segregation, especially after incidents like the 2001 Oldham riots. Example number 2, black nationalist movements in the UK. While the intent was noble, protection, pride and power, isolation often led to echo chambers and mistrust from wider society. Some leaders faced burnout. Others lost influence entirely because they refused to collaborate outside their circle. Example number 3, insular religious communities. Whether Jewish Haredi, Muslim Salafi, or Christian fundamentalists, communities that withdrew entirely from wider society often faced poor educational outcomes, limited economic mobility, and social suspicion, even when they posed no real threat. And example number 4, migrants. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is because that seems to be a hot topic at this time. At least at the time of this recording anyway, in 2025. And the reason why I say migrants, right, I really should be more specific, and I should say illegal migrants. Now, I'm not here to be political in the broader sense of the term. I'm just talking from an objective view as to how the complete disconnect causes for there to be strife. And again, I go back to, okay, so I'm starting with illegal immigrants, at least talking about them in this context, and I move on to migrants, legal migrants, and you'll see why. Right. So illegal immigrants obviously have come into the country illegally, right? That's problem number 1, right? Problem number 2 is the fact that they're not learning the language of the natives, i.e. if you're coming as an illegal immigrant to the UK and you're not learning English, that's a problem, okay? Because a lot of the time, when people are speaking another language in front of you, where they're speaking around you but not to you, a lot of people could see that as an affront. They see that as, hey man, is this person talking to me? Is this person talking about me? Why can't I understand what they're saying? This person must be talking smack about me. Then there's a problem. Yeah? That's all I'm going to say on the matter of illegal immigration or illegal immigrants at this point. Right? Now, then when you move on to legal immigrants, and this is especially prolific in major cities, you will have pockets of people that, just like I just spoke about the insular religious communities, you'll have pockets of ethnic minorities that refuse to engage with the outside world, that refuse to engage with the broader society, right? And that causes an issue because then people need things like translators when they need to use the healthcare services. And of course, that causes more of a burden on, the UK population as a whole when it comes to having to, pay out when it comes to healthcare. So, and by pay through healthcare, I'm of course talking about taxing. Now, the natives of the land understand or see the fact that services are being used elsewhere and their place is a priority over themselves. And of course, this is going to cause contention. It's going to cause strife, right? And again, I'm not looking to be political here. Bearing in mind here, I'm black. Of course, I'm the son of a migrant, right? Or as I actually like to call them, I like to call them like expatriates, isn't that? Yeah. Nigerian expatriates, right? Expatriates? Is that it? Expatriates? Basically, I don't like the word immigrant, right? Because immigration, the word in itself, migrant, the word in itself has been used in such a political manner. Expatriates, right? I think that's it. Expatriates? Maybe it's expats. You know what? We'll go with expats. Look, the point is that I don't like using the word migrants when it comes to those who have legally and through choice decided to emigrate to another country. Okay, migrants always has a bad taste in people's mouths when you say, "Oh, I'm a migrant," or "My parents are migrants." Yeah, if you're trying to show the fact that you're not, your heritage isn't from here, yeah, that's great. But it's been so politicized and used negatively. I just don't like the word. So that's why I'm saying expats. Right? If you've come here legally, right, and you're paying into the same system that everybody, because you should be looking for integration, right, is paying out from, it's fine. Very few people care. And the ones that do care about having absolutely no migrants whatsoever do not possess enough intellect to understand that most products they have, especially here in the UK, most products that they have, most produce that they have is not from the UK. Okay, so if you cut off, if you stick to being on this island on your own without any input from anywhere else, from any other country, you're going to have a really tough time. You want some examples? No problem. Let's look at your cars, right? Let's look at the cars. Ford, that's an American company. Great. Mercedes, that's a German company. Wonderful. Audi, also German. BMW, also German. Now, if you've been on any of the UK roads, you know that those cars are prevalent, right? I'm sure there are others as well, the likes of Toyota and Nissan, right? The point I'm trying to say is that no country can survive without others, right? So it doesn't just go for the foods and the products, it goes for produce, it goes for the services as well, the people, okay? And it seems like I've gone off tangent here. What I'm just trying to say is that when it comes to isolation, okay, trying to isolate yourself as a community, as a group of people, historically has never worked. It never will work. All right? Integration doesn't mean dilution. It means your roots are strong enough to connect with people without being uprooted. I believe that integration strengthens a nation. Right? Because when it's done well, it doesn't just benefit you, it enriches the whole country. Culturally, when you look at Britain's food scene, music festivals, business innovation, would any of that be world class without the flavors of Nigeria, Jamaica, India, Bangladesh, Ghana, and Pakistan? Most probably not. Yeah? Integration brought that richness to the table, not assimilation. Now, if we're talking economically, a 2018 report by the Centre of Economics and Business Research found that migrants contribute over £25 billion annually to the UK economy. Multicultural businesses and entrepreneurs, many of whom maintain strong cultural identities, are the lifeblood of London's economy. Black-owned and Asian-owned businesses alone contribute billions in GDP. And when we're talking from a social standpoint, integrated communities show lower crime rates, higher trust, and better life satisfaction, according to longitudinal studies from the University of Essex. So the lie that they need to become like us is not only false, it's economically and socially stupid. Diversity done right builds stronger nations. So what I want to do is that I want to give you a couple of examples, 5 examples of men from, different fields who exemplify integration across industries. Number 1, Edwin Enninful, right? He is in fashion. Now, he was the former editor-in-chief of British Vogue. He was Ghanaian born, and he transformed British fashion media by infusing inclusive storytelling. Number 2, Kano, who influenced music and culture. I love Kano. Like back in the day, what was it? It was P's and Q's. That was a great song. And I think it was his mixtape. Was it? Would you call it a mixtape? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a mixtape. Mixtape of Ghetto Coyote. Bangers. Back in the early 2000s, bangers. Right? He's a foundational figure in UK grime. He's also an actor and cultural voice, and he never apologized for his heritage, slang, or accent. Number 3, Dr. Nero Chamberlain. He's one of UK's leading mathematicians, and he's spoken often about navigating elite STEM spaces while staying true to his identity. Number 4, Stephen Bartlett. Right? Everybody knows him as a very, very well-known dragon on Dragon's Den. In fact, I think he was the youngest dragon on Dragon's Den. And also for his podcast that he's got on YouTube. I'm sure it's in other places, but I watch it on YouTube. Called Diary of a CEO. Yeah? He uses his upbringing and race to inspire a new kind of leadership. And number 5, Akala. Right? He's influenced education and social impact. Now, he's a rapper, he's a historian, he's a writer. Remember, I told you about, I recommended you read his book. It's called Natives, right? Great book. Right? He speaks in rooms with royalty and street youth alike. These men didn't assimilate, they integrated with power. And now we come to the practical side of the podcast, where I've got here 5 practical ways to integrate without assimilating. Number 1, know your culture deeply. Study your language, history, faith, and music. Okay? Number 2, learn the landscape you live in. Understand British systems, politics, humour, and traditions. Right? There's no point in trying to... If you're going to integrate properly. As I said, the internet is a wonderful tool. Okay? I am sure that there will be many a website that could help out with learning the landscape that you live in. Now, I've used Britain because I live in Britain. But of course, if you are in the States, if you are in Berlin, if you are in, again, even if you're in like somewhere like Johannesburg, right? You got to learn where you live. You got to learn what's around you. Okay? Number 3, speak with respect. Okay? And I say speak with respect. And the reason why I say that is because, and I've discussed this in a previous episode as well. I think it was called, what I discussed it? The importance of respect, right? You want to speak with respect because that's exactly what you want reciprocated back to you. Okay? Number 4, collaborate across cultures. Join groups, attend events, partner in business. Okay? There's no better way to integrate than to collaborate with people. Okay? Because, again, all it takes is for you to work with somebody that has a different worldview to you, and away you are to the races. Is it to the races? Away you are at the races. Look, man, all I'm trying to say is that collaboration is great. Okay? Collaborate with the people around you. Right? Be seen within your community. And do things that are community focused. And when I'm talking community, I'm not just talking your small pocket. I'm talking within your town's community. Right? Your town, I'm not going to say village, it seems, unless you really live in a really sparsely populated place. Typically, if you're in a city, it could be your area, your borough, right? And number 5, be visible. Don't hide. Okay, let your name be known. Let your work be seen. Right? It's very hard to integrate when nobody knows who you are. Okay? Even if it's by first name. Just let people know who you are. All it takes is a friendly smile. A smile is free. Smile to your neighbors. One of the things that I've said, I've said this to a couple of friends. I've said one of the issues that I had with London was that Londoners were world class at minding their own business. At least nowadays. The sense of community that people used to have is absolutely gone. Or, let me not be completely nihilistic. It's significantly reduced from what it was when I was growing up as a child and as a teenager. And because of that, the level of animosity has absolutely skyrocketed. So when we're talking about, yes, you can talk about crimes. I'm just talking about things like if you stared at someone for 3 seconds, the first thing you would get is, what are you looking at, bruv? Is there a problem? It shouldn't be like that at all. And that wouldn't happen if there was a sense of community. Okay? So I'll go through those 6 practical ways again. Number 1, know your culture deeply. Number 2, learn the landscape you live in. Number 3, speak with respect to people. Number 4, collaborate across cultures. And number 5, be visible. So here are my closing thoughts. When the world tries to tell you that blending in is the path to peace, please don't believe it. Okay? When it whispers that isolation is the only safe route, don't fall for that okie doke either. You are here to be seen, not shadowed. You are here to shape, not shrink. Walk into every room with your heritage wrapped around you like armor. Speak with clarity, act with integrity, and carry yourself like royalty, because that's what you are. If you learn how to wash your hands, not just literally, but spiritually, emotionally, and socially, then like the Yoruba say, you eat with the elders. Right? Not by pretending, not by hiding, but by showing up. Strong, rooted, ready. Until next time. Thank you for joining me today on For My Sons. I hope today's message challenged you, encouraged you, or gave you something worth passing down. If you found value in this episode, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss a new letter, a new lesson, or a new legacy moment. Until next time, be a communications CEO. Communicate clearly, communicate early, and communicate often. This is Papa O, and I am out.